Hey, did you know there's two types of freehold properties in Singapore? Let's take a look. Now let's take a look. There are actually two different types of freehold estates. Did you even know that? Okay, so we need to understand history a little bit. I don't want to make this a history lesson, so I'll be very quick, I promise you. So during the early days of Singapore's history, land ownership wasn't clear during the time when we were a fishing village. All right, but fast forward to independence in 1965, land that was under the British ownership at the time was actually transferred to the Singapore government. And by 1967, we actually released this Land Acquisition Act. And during the period of 1959 to 1985, the Singapore government went on a land buying spree. Okay, they bought around 17,690 hectares worth of land. And what this resulted was that the Singapore government became the majority landowner with around 72% ownership of the land in Singapore. So there are different types of estates and interests in land. What we need to understand is that the ultimate land owner is the state or the Singapore government. And what we own are either estates or interests in the land itself. So this estate or interest, there is a time duration. For freehold, it's unlimited. For leasehold, then it depends. It's either 99, 999, yada, yada, yada. All right. And an estate, to make it simple to understand, is basically the right of use for the land. That's how you can think of it. And there are two types of freeholds, okay? There's freehold in fee simple and freehold in perpetuity. So what's the difference? Let's take a look. So estate in fee simple, you actually have the most number of rights and the least number of limitations. All right, this is what I would call an absolute freehold estates. Basically, you have no charges on the land's rent except a statutory charge, which is basically a property tax. Okay, how this is different is when we look at estate in perpetuity, similar to fee simple in terms of unlimited duration, but estate in perpetuity is actually subjected to covenants and conditions. So the government actually has free access to your land under certain conditions. For example, although you might be having a house above a freehold land, but if this land is estate in perpetuity, if let's say your land does have minerals or oil inside, underground, then the government has the right to actually go in, access and dig under your land. So I know what all of you might be thinking, how can I check my freehold status? Now that I share with you this, I think this will be on the top of your mind. So very simply, what you can do is visit the SLA website and go to this thing called INLIST. So INLIST is basically the Integrated Land Information Service by the Singapore Land Authority. And from here, you can actually see there's different types of information that you can get. What we want is the property ownership information. You just need to pay $5.25 to get it. But I know what some of you must be thinking, must pay. Don't worry, all right? It's actually free to check for property owners themselves. So if you are a property owner, all you have to do is log in using your SingPass and you'll be able to access it. So if you've learned something new today, hey, like and share this post so that someone else can benefit and get this information. So I'll see you soon in my next video.